Step into the misty streets of Hamelin, where a piper's haunting tune weaves a spell of mystery and consequence. This is the tale of the Pied Piper, a figure cloaked in motley, whose music saves a town but demands a price that echoes through time. From a plague of rats to a vanished generation, this story blends enchantment, betrayal, and moral lessons, rooted in medieval folklore. If this eerie saga captivates you, hit that like button, subscribe for more mythic tales, share your favourite moment in the comments, and tap the bell to never miss a story. Let's begin in Hamelin, where a town's desperation sets a fateful bargain in motion. The cobblestone streets of Hamelin, a thriving town nestled in Lower Saxony, hum with life in the summer of 1284. Merchants hawk wares in the bustling market square, their voices mingling with the clatter of carts and the laughter of children chasing wooden hoops. The Weser River glints nearby, its waters feeding fertile fields that promise bountiful harvests. Yet, beneath this veneer of prosperity, a shadow creeps through Hamelin's alleys, gnawing at its heart. This is the tale of a town besieged by a plague of rats, where desperation births a fateful encounter with a mysterious stranger. Let the rhythm of Hamelin's bustling days and encroaching dread weave a soothing narrative, its cadence of hope and fear lulling you gently towards sleep, where myths unfold like whispers on the wind. Hamelin, in the late 13th century, is a jewel of medieval Germany, its timber-framed houses and stone church standing proud under a wide sky. Its wealth flows from trade, wool, grain, and crafted goods, carried along the Weser to distant markets. The town's council, led by a pragmatic mayor and wealthy burghers, governs with a firm hand, ensuring order and prosperity. Families like the Müllers and Schmidts thrive, their children playing in sunlit courtyards, while guilds of weavers and bakers keep the town's economy robust. The church bells toll for prayers, and festivals fill the square with music and ale. But this idyllic scene, vibrant as a tapestry, begins to fray as an unseen menace multiplies in the shadows. It starts with a rustle in the granaries, a fleeting shape in the moonlight. Rats bold and countless invade Hamelin. They swarm from cellars, scurry through kitchens, and gnaw through sacks of barley and rye. Their beady eyes gleam in the dark, their squeaks a mocking chorus as they overrun homes and shops. Bakers find loaves ruined, merchants lose stocks, and farmers watch fields stripped bare. The rats, carrying fleas, bring whispers of disease, fevers that claim the weak and elderly, spreading fear as swiftly as their claws skitter across cobblestones. By early summer, the infestation is a crisis, the town's abundance turning to scarcity. Mothers clutch their children, fathers curse in taverns, and the council's meetings grow frantic. The mayor, a stout man named Heinrich, presides over the council hall, its oak table scarred from years of debate. His advisors, Herr Schmidt, a grain merchant, Frau Weber, a guild leader, and Father Klaus, the town's priest, grapple with solutions. Traps fail. The rats are too numerous. Cats, overwhelmed, flee or fall prey themselves. Poison taints food supplies, and burning infested stores risks the town's wooden houses. The council offers bounties for rat tails, but the vermin multiply faster than hunters can kill. Heinrich, his brow furrowed, hears the townsfolk's pleas. Our children go hungry. The rats mock our prayers. The church, once a refuge, offers no miracles. Father Klaus's sermons, urging faith, ring hollow as granaries empty. The rat's invasion is more than a physical plague. It's a psychological weight, a creeping dread that darkens Hamelin's spirit. Children wake screaming from dreams of gnashing teeth, while parents barter dwindling food for medicine. The market square, once alive with laughter, grows tense. Vendors shouting over spoiled goods. Guilds bicker, blaming each other for the crisis. Bakers accuse millers of hoarding. Millers point to farmers' poor storage. Rumours swirl of divine punishment. Perhaps Hamelin's wealth invited greed, or neglected alms angered God. Father Klaus, clutching his rosary, warns of sin, but his words stir guilt more than hope. The town's unity phrase, each family guarding its own. The rats, a constant reminder of vulnerability. Heinrich calls emergency meetings, the council hall lit by flickering torches. Herr Schmidt, his wealth dwindling, demands action. We'll starve by winter if this continues. Frau Weber, practical but weary, suggests hiring mercenaries to hunt the rats, but the cost is daunting. Father Klaus proposes a pilgrimage to St. Boniface's shrine, hoping divine intervention, but the townsfolk, desperate, want immediate relief. Young Hans, a baker's apprentice, speaks up. In Brunswick, they say a wanderer drove out pests with strange arts. The council, sceptical but grasping at hope, debates. Superstition clashes with pragmatism. Tales of wandering mystics, half healer, half sorcerer, are common, but Hamelin's need outweighs doubt. Heinrich sends messengers to nearby towns, seeking such a figure, their horses galloping through the night. The emotional toll is heavy, a somber note in our soothing tale. Families huddle in darkened homes, their stores raided, their children pale with hunger. Heinrich feels the weight of leadership, his dreams haunted by squeaking hordes. Frau Weber, a mother herself, aches for the town's youth, her guild's pride crumbling. Father Klaus wrestles with faith, his prayers unanswered, while Hans's hope sparks a flicker of possibility. The rats, relentless, embody chaos, their scampering a mocking rhythm against Hamelin's order. This despair, woven gently, creates a lullaby of longing, easing you toward sleep with its steady cadence. Politically, the crisis threatens Hamelin's stability. The council's failure erodes trust. Whispers of rebellion stir among the poorer districts where hunger bites deepest. Trade falters as merchants avoid Hamelin, fearing tainted goods. Neighbouring towns like Hanover watch warily, refusing aid lest the rats spread. The church's influence wanes, its promises empty against the vermin's tide. Yet the townsfolk's desperation breeds a fragile unity, their shared plight a faint hope amid division. As summer wanes, the rats grow bolder, gnawing through church pews and noble houses alike. The Weser, once a lifeline, now carries tales of Hamelin's woe downstream, drawing curious travellers. Among them, a stranger approaches, his silhouette striking against the setting sun. Clad in a motley cloak of red and yellow, a pipe slung across his shoulder, he moves with quiet confidence, his eyes sharp and unreadable. Word spreads, a piper has come, claiming powers to end the plague. The townsfolk, gathered in the square, watch him with a mix of hope and suspicion, his pied attire a stark contrast to their drab fears. The stranger, calling himself the piper, seeks an audience with the council. In the torchlit hall, he stands before Heinrich, his voice calm but commanding. I can rid Hamelin of its rats for a price. His pipe, carved with strange runes, glints in the light, hinting at arts beyond mortal ken. The council, desperate, questions him. What sorcery do you wield? Demands Schmidt. The piper smiles, cryptic. Music moves more than men know. Father Klaus, uneasy, senses something otherworldly, but Heinrich, pressed by the town's cries, asks his price. 1,000 guilders, the piper says, a sum that makes the council blanch but reflects Hamelin's wealth. After heated debate, Frau Weber urging caution, Hans pleading trust, they agree, shaking hands on the bargain. The piper's arrival shifts Hamelin's mood, a spark of hope in our narrative's flow. Children peek from windows, their fear tempered by curiosity. Heinrich feels a flicker of relief, though doubt lingers. Frau Weber, practical, counts the cost, while Father Klaus prays against dark forces. The piper, enigmatic, stands apart, his pipe a promise and a mystery. The townsfolk, gathered at dusk, watch him prepare, his silence louder than their whispers. The rats, still scurrying, seem unaware of the tune that will soon bind them. The stage is set for a miracle, or a trap. The piper's bargain, sealed with a handshake, carries weight beyond gold. Hamelin, teetering between hope and despair, pins its fate on a stranger's song. The myth's rhythm, blending medieval life with supernatural promise, creates a gentle tide, soothing yet tense. The Weser flows nearby, its waters a mirror to the town's fragile hope. While the piper's shadow looms, his motives veiled. As this segment fades, see Hamelin's streets at twilight, the piper tuning his pipe, its notes a faint promise in the air. The rats scurry, the townsfolk wait, and the council holds its breath. The myth, alive with possibility, hums with the tension of a bargain struck. Let this image, Hamelin poised, the piper ready, carry you toward dreams, where the next chapter of enchantment and consequence awaits. The streets of Hamelin quiver with unease, the rat plague gnawing at the town's heart, its people clinging to dwindling hope. In the summer of 1284, a stranger steps into this despair, his motley cloak of red and yellow a stark contrast to the town's muted dread. Known only as the piper, he carries a carved pipe etched with runes, his presence both a promise and a riddle. This is the tale of his arrival and the fateful bargain struck with Hamelin's desperate counsel, a moment that shifts the town's destiny toward enchantment and danger. Let the rhythm of whispered hopes tense negotiations, and the piper's cryptic allure weave a soothing narrative, its cadence of mystery and anticipation, lulling you gently towards sleep, where myths unfold like shadows in the twilight. Hamelin's plight has reached a breaking point. The rats, relentless, swarm through granaries, homes, and even the church, their squeaks a mocking chorus against the townsfolk's prayers. The market square, once vibrant with traders' calls, now echoes with complaints of spoiled grain and dwindling coin. Mayor Heinrich, his face lined with worry, faces mounting pressure from the council. Herr Schmidt, the grain merchant, laments lost profits. Frau Weber, the guild leader, fears for the town's children. Father Klaus, the priest, sees divine wrath in the vermin's tide. The townsfolk, hungry and fearful, gather daily, their voices rising in desperation. Save us from this curse. Messengers sent to neighboring towns return empty-handed. No hunter, no alchemist can stem the plague. Yet, whispers of a wanderer in Brunswick, a man who tamed pests with strange arts, spark a flicker of hope. Into this turmoil strides the piper, his arrival like a melody cutting through silence. He appears at dusk, his cloak catching the fading light, his steps measured yet purposeful. The townsfolk, clustered in the square, part as he passes, their eyes drawn to his pied attire, patches of crimson and gold, like a jester or a sorcerer. His face, half hidden by a wide-brimmed hat, is sharp and unreadable, his eyes glinting with secrets. A pipe hangs at his side, its wood carved with symbols no one recognizes, hinting at powers beyond the mortal. Children peer from doorways, their fear tempered by curiosity, while parents whisper, "Who is he? A savior or a trickster?" The piper, ignoring the murmurs, seeks the council hall, his presence stirring a breeze of hope and unease. Heinrich, alerted by a breathless guard, convenes the council in the torchlit hall, its oak beams heavy with the weight of Hamelin's woes. The piper stands before them, his voice calm but resonant, like the first note of a song. "I am the piper," he declares, "and I can rid your town of rats." His words, simple yet bold, hang in the air. Herr Schmidt, skeptical, demands proof. "What arts do you wield?" The piper's smile is cryptic, his fingers brushing the pipe. "Music moves mountains and beasts alike," he says, offering no more. Frau Weber, practical, asks his price. 1,000 guilders, he replies, a sum that draws gasps. Hamelin's wealth could pay it, but the cost stings. Father Klaus, clutching his cross, senses something otherworldly, his voice trembling. Is this God's work, or the devil's? The piper meets his gaze, unyielding. "Pay my price and see." The council debates, their voices a tense chorus. Heinrich, burdened by the town's cries, sees no other path. The rats threaten starvation by winter. Schmidt, eyeing his shrinking coffers, hesitates, fearing a charlatan. Weber argues for trust. "We've tried traps, poison, prayers. Nothing works." This man offers hope. Klaus warns of sorcery, urging caution. But young Hans, the baker's apprentice who first spoke of a wanderer, pleads, "What choice have we? The children starve." The piper waits, his silence louder than their words, his pipe glinting like a promise. After hours, Heinrich raises his hand. "We accept," he says, "but you'll be paid when the rats are gone." The piper nods, his eyes narrowing slightly, as if sensing the council's wavering trust. They shake hands, the bargain sealed, the guilders a weighty vow. The townsfolk, gathered outside, catch wind of the deal. Hope flares. Mothers clutch their children, imagining full larders. Merchants dream of restored trade, yet unease lingers. The piper's foreignness, his pied cloak, his lack of a name, sparks whispers. Is he a gypsy, a mage, a demon in disguise? Father Klaus, leaving the hall, mutters prayers against dark arts, while Hans, wide-eyed, sees a hero. The piper retires to an inn, declining offers of wine or company, his solitude adding to his mystique. At night, children sneak glances at him through windows, his shadow dancing in candlelight as he tunes his pipe. Its faint notes eerie, yet alluring. The emotional depth of this moment weaves a gentle thread in our tale. Heinrich's relief is tempered by doubt, his leadership tested by a stranger's promise. Frau Weber's hope for her guild's survival battles her fear of the unknown. Father Klaus's faith wavers, his warnings a plea for divine clarity. Hans, young and trusting, embodies the town's fragile optimism, his belief a spark in the gloom. The piper, enigmatic, carries a quiet menace, his motives veiled. Does he seek gold, glory, or something darker? The townsfolk's desperation, a collective heartbeat pulses through Hamelin, their fear and hope a soothing hum for sleep. Politically, the bargain tests Hamelin's unity. The council's decision, born of necessity, risks their authority. If the piper fails, they'll face rebellion. If he succeeds, the cost may bankrupt them. Neighbouring towns like Hanover watch closely, wary of Hamelin's plague spreading. The church's influence, already strained, weakens further as townsfolk pin hopes on a stranger over prayers. The piper's arrival, a single figure against a town's chaos, shifts power subtly. His pipe a symbol of authority no sword could match. The piper's origins remain a mystery, adding a dreamlike quality to the narrative. Some tales call him a wanderer from distant lands, perhaps Bohemia or the Black Forest, where music and magic intertwine. Others hint at supernatural ties, a servant of Fae, a cursed soul bound to his pipe. His cloak, patched and vibrant, suggests a life of travel, each colour a story untold. His pipe, carved with runes, whispers of ancient arts, perhaps learned from forgotten masters or gifted by otherworldly beings. These questions, unanswered, weave a tapestry of intrigue, their mystery a gentle lullaby for listeners drifting toward dreams. Hamelin prepares for the piper's work. The council spreads word, tomorrow he will play. Families bar their doors, fearing his music's power, while others gather in the square, eager for salvation. Heinrich, sleepless, paces the hall, his mind on the guild as promised. Frau Weber rallies the guilds, urging calm, while Father Klaus prays in the church, his candles flickering against the dark. Hans, unable to sleep, dreams of a town free of rats, his hope a beacon. The piper, alone in his room, polishes his pipe, its wood warm in his hands, ready to sing a song that will change Hamelin forever. The stage is set, the bargain a fragile thread. The rats, still scurrying through alleys, are unaware of the tune that awaits. The townsfolk, poised between hope and fear, cling to the piper's promise, their faith a gamble. The myth's rhythm, blending medieval life with supernatural possibility, creates a soothing tide, its tension softened for sleep. The Weser flows nearby, its waters a mirror to Hamelin's fragile hope, while the piper's shadow looms, his pipe a key to salvation or doom. As this segment fades, see Hamelin at dawn, the piper stepping into the square, his pipe raised, its first notes trembling in the air. The townsfolk watch, hearts pounding as the rats stir. The myth, alive with anticipation, hums with the promise of a miracle. Let this image, Hamelin waiting, the piper poised, carry you toward dreams, where the next chapter of enchantment and consequence unfolds. Dawn breaks over Hamelin, its cobblestone streets hushed with anticipation. The rat plague a gnawing shadow over the town's fading hope. The piper, clad in his motley cloak of red and yellow, steps into the market square, his carved pipe glinting in the early light. The bargain struck with the council, 1,000 guilders to rid Hamelin of its vermin, hangs heavy, a promise of salvation laced with unease. This is the tale of the piper's enchanted tune, a melody that draws the rats to their doom and frees the town, yet stirs whispers of something unnatural. Let the rhythm of his haunting notes, the scampering of countless paws, and the town's fragile joy weave a soothing narrative, its cadence of wonder and wariness lulling you gently towards sleep, where myths unfold like ripples on the Weser. The morning of the piper's task, July 1284, finds Hamelin poised on a knife's edge. The townsfolk, weary from months of rats ravaging granaries and homes, gather at windows and doorways, their eyes fixed on the stranger in pied attire. Mayor Heinrich, flanked by council members Herr Schmidt and Frau Weber, stands in the square, his face taut with hope and doubt. Father Klaus, clutching his cross, lingers near the church, muttering prayers against the piper's mysterious arts. Young Hans, the baker's apprentice, watches wide-eyed, his belief in the stranger a spark amid the town's fear. The rats, oblivious, scurry through alleys, their squeaks a mocking chorus against Hamelin's prayers. The piper, silent until now, raises his pipe to his lips. The crowd holds its breath, the air thick with expectation. The first note rings out, clear, piercing, yet strangely sweet, like a lullaby twisted with an eerie edge. The sound weaves through the town, curling into cellars, attics, and granaries, a melody that seems to pulse with life. The rats stir, their beady eyes glinting as if spellbound. From every corner of Hamelin, bakeries, barns, even the church's sacred halls, they emerge, a writhing tide of fur and claws. Children gasp, mothers clutch their skirts, and Heinrich's jaw tightens as the vermin pour into the square. Drawn inexorably to the piper's tune, he begins to walk, his steps slow and deliberate, the pipe never leaving his lips. The melody shifts, now lively, now mournful, its notes bending the rats to his will. They follow in a chaotic stream, thousands strong, their tails twitching, their bodies swaying as if dancing to a silent drum. The townsfolk watch, awestruck, as the piper leads the horde down Hamelin's main street, past the Guildhall's carved doors and the church's stone spire. Frau Weber whispers, "It's unnatural," but her voice carries wonder. Hans, grinning, trails at a distance, his heart racing with the miracle unfolding. Father Klaus crosses himself, torn between fear of sorcery and gratitude for deliverance. The piper's path winds toward the Weser River, its waters shimmering under the morning sun. The rats, entranced, follow without hesitation, their squeaks drowned by the pipe's relentless song. At the riverbank, the piper pauses, his cloak fluttering in the breeze. The melody crescendos, a wild, urgent strain, and the rats plunge into the Weser, a writhing mass swallowed by the current. Some tales say they drown, their bodies swept downstream. Others claim they vanish into the river's depths, as if claimed by some unseen force. The piper plays on, his notes echoing until the last rat disappears, leaving the riverbank silent save for the water's gentle lap. Hamelin erupts in joy. The townsfolk pour into the streets, cheering and weeping, their voices a chorus of relief. Bakers embrace merchants, children dance where rats once swarmed, and even Father Klaus offers a hesitant prayer of thanks. Heinrich, his shoulders easing, shakes Herr Schmidt's hand, their rivalry forgotten in the moment's triumph. Frau Weber, ever practical, counts the saved grain, her guild's future secure. Hans, eyes bright, shouts, "He's a hero!" as the crowd surges around the piper, who lowers his pipe, his face unreadable. Mothers offer bread, fathers press coins, but he waves them away, his gaze fixed on the council. The piper returns to the hall, where Heinrich awaits with a cautious smile. "You've done as promised," the mayor says, voice booming for the crowd. "Hamelin is free." He gestures to a chest, promising the 1,000 guilders once accounts are settled. The piper's eyes narrow, a flicker of something, anger perhaps, crossing his face. "Pay what was sworn," he says, his voice low but sharp, like a note held too long. The council nods, but whispers among them. Schmidt's grumbling about cost, Klaus's warnings of sorcery, hint at trouble. The piper departs, his cloak a splash of colour against the grey stone, leaving the town to revel in its newfound peace. The emotional depth of this moment weaves a soothing thread. Heinrich's relief battles his unease, the piper's power a double-edged sword. Frau Weber's joy for her guild's survival mixes with wariness of the stranger's magic. Father Klaus, torn, sees a miracle but fears its source, his faith shaken. Hans's awe, pure and youthful, lights the narrative, his hope a beacon. The piper, enigmatic, carries a quiet menace, his silence louder than his tune. The townsfolk's celebration, vibrant yet fragile, pulses like a heartbeat, its joy tempered by the myth's eerie undertone, a lullaby for sleep. Politically, The piper's success shifts Hamelin's balance. The council's authority strengthens with the rats gone, but the promised payment strains their coffers, sowing tension. Neighbouring towns, hearing of the miracle, send envoys, curious and wary of Hamelin's saviour. The church, sidelined by the piper's deed, loses sway, Father Klaus's warnings ignored in the face of results. The piper himself, a lone figure, holds power no noble can match, his pipe a symbol of influence that unsettles the order. The piper's music, a central mystery, adds a dreamlike quality. Its notes, described in tales as both joyous and haunting, seem to bend reality, compelling beasts in ways no mortal could. Some whisper he learned his art in distant lands, Bohemia, perhaps, or the shadowed Black Forest, where music and magic intertwine. Others hint at supernatural pacts, his pipe a gift from fae or darker spirits, its runes pulsing with hidden power. These questions, unanswered, weave intrigue, their mystery a gentle hum for listeners drifting toward dreams. Hamelin basks in its deliverance. Granaries are swept clean, bread fills tables, and children play without fear. Merchants reopen stalls, their voices loud in the market square, while farmers report unspoiled fields. Yet unease lingers. The piper's power, so swiftly effective, stirs doubt. How could music alone achieve such a feat? Father Klaus in the church lights candles, praying against unseen forces. Frau Weber, checking stores, wonders at the piper's motives. Heinrich, facing the council, feels the weight of their promise. The guilders a looming debt. Hans, alone among them, dreams of the piper's next marvel, his faith unshaken. The stage is set for the council's response. The piper, waiting at the inn, polishes his pipe, its wood warm in his hands. The townsfolk, celebrating, are unaware of the tension brewing. Will Hamelin honour its word, or will greed undo their joy? The myth's rhythm, blending triumph with foreboding, creates a soothing tide, its tension softened for sleep. The Weser flows nearby, its waters carrying the rat's memory, while the piper's shadow looms, his tune a promise fulfilled, and a warning unspoken. As this segment fades, see Hamelin's streets alive with laughter, the piper standing apart, his pipe silent but heavy with potential. The council gathers, the guilders uncounted, the town poised between gratitude and doubt. The myth, vibrant with possibility, hums with the tension of a promise tested. Let this image, Hamelin rejoicing, the piper waiting, carry you toward dreams where the next chapter of betrayal and consequence unfolds. Hamelin's streets brim with newfound joy, the rat plague swept away by the piper's enchanted tune, leaving the town basking in relief. The summer sun of 1284 shines on markets bustling once more, with bakers selling fresh loaves and children playing free of fear. Yet, beneath this celebration, a shadow gathers in the council hall, where the promise of 1,000 guilders to the piper hangs heavy. This is the tale of Hamelin's betrayal, a decision driven by greed and doubt that sows the seeds of retribution. Let the rhythm of the town's fleeting triumph, the piper's rising anger, and the hum of broken trust weave a soothing narrative, its cadence of joy and foreboding lulling you gently toward sleep, where myths unfold like whispers across the Weser. The morning after the rat's exodus, Hamelin feels reborn. The market square, once choked with vermin, now echoes with merchants' calls and laughter. Granaries are swept clean, their stores intact, and farmers report fields unravaged. Mothers like Frau Müller hug their children, relieved to see them eat without fear of tainted food. The church bells ring, though Father Klaus, still wary, keeps his prayers guarded. Mayor Heinrich, his face lighter, walks the streets, accepting thanks from townsfolk who call the piper a miracle worker. Herr Schmidt, the grain merchant, counts restored profits, while Frau Weber, guild leader, rallies her weavers to meet new demand. Young Hans, the baker's apprentice, tells anyone who'll listen that the piper is a hero, his eyes bright with awe. But in the council hall, a different mood brews. Heinrich convenes the council, Schmidt, Weber, Klaus, and others, to discuss the piper's payment. The agreed sum, 1,000 guilders, is a fortune, enough to strain Hamelin's treasury, built on years of trade. Schmidt, ever tight-fisted, argues first. The rats are gone, but who's to say they won't return? Why pay a wanderer so much for one day's work? His voice, sharp with greed, finds echoes among lesser councillors who fear tax hikes or depleted reserves. Frau Weber practical urges caution. We promised. Breaking faith could curse us worse than rats. Father Klaus, uneasy with the piper's power, suggests he might be a charlatan, his music a trick rather than magic. What if he's no saviour but a devil, he mutters, clutching his rosary. Heinrich, torn, feels the weight of leadership. The townsfolk's joy bolsters his authority, but the guilders loom large. He recalls the piper's cryptic gaze, his warning to honour the bargain. Yet Schmidt's words nag. Could they offer less, say 50 guilders, and send the stranger away? The council debates, their voices rising in the torchlit hall. Hans, lingering outside, overhears and protests, his youthful voice breaking. He saved us! You can't cheat him. But Schmidt dismisses him, and Heinrich, swayed by the majority, leans toward betrayal. We'll offer a token, he decides, enough to appease him. The council agrees, ignoring Weber's frown and Klaus's murmured prayers, sealing a choice that shifts Hamelin's fate. The piper, waiting at the inn, senses the shift. He polishes his pipe, its runes catching the candlelight, his silence heavy with purpose. When summoned to the hall, he stands before the council, his motley cloak vibrant against the grey stone. Heinrich speaks, his tone falsely warm. You've freed Hamelin, and we're grateful. Take 50 guilders and our thanks. He gestures to a small purse, far short of the promised sum. The piper's eyes, sharp as flint, fix on Heinrich. You swore 1,000 guilders, he says, his voice low, cutting through the hall like a cold wind. Honour your word or pay a greater price. The threat hangs, chilling the room. Schmidt scoffs. Be content, wanderer. You've earned enough. Klaus shifts uneasily, sensing a darkness in the piper's calm. The piper's face hardens, his fingers tightening on his pipe. You'll regret this, he warns, his voice a melody of menace, each word deliberate, like a note in a dirge. He turns, his cloak swirling, and strides from the hall, ignoring Heinrich's calls to negotiate. The townsfolk, gathered outside, sense the tension, their cheers faltering. Frau Müller whispers to her neighbour, Did they cheat him? Hans, distraught, runs after the piper, pleading, They're wrong! I'll make them pay! But the piper, unyielding, vanishes into an alley, his shadow blending with the dusk. The council, shaken but defiant, disperses, Heinrich convincing himself the piper will leave quietly, the guilders saved for Hamelin's coffers. The town resumes its revelry, but cracks appear. Merchants, hearing of the council's decision, murmur about broken promises. Frau Weber, meeting her guild, warns, dishonour brings trouble. Father Klaus, in the church, lights candles, praying against retribution, his unease growing. Hans, unable to sleep, wanders the streets, his faith in the piper unshaken, but his heart heavy with the council's greed. The townsfolk, unaware of the full betrayal, feast and dance, their joy a fragile bubble. The Weser flows nearby, its waters calm but carrying an undercurrent of warning, as if echoing the piper's words. The piper, unseen, lingers in Hamelin's shadows. Some tales say he plots at the inn, his pipe ready for a darker song. Others claim he communes with unseen forces, his runes glowing faintly. His motives, still veiled, add a dreamlike mystery. Does he seek justice, revenge, or something beyond mortal understanding? His pied cloak, a patchwork of travels, hints at a life spent wandering, perhaps driven by debts unpaid or promises broken in other towns. The runes on his pipe, etched in patterns no scholar can read, suggest arts learned in distant lands, Bohemia, the Black Forest, or realms where music bends fate. These enigmas, woven gently, create a lullaby of intrigue, soothing yet tense. The emotional depth runs deep, a soft thread in our narrative. Heinrich's relief at saving coin battles his guilt, his leadership stained by deceit. Schmidt's greed blinds him to consequences, his merchant's heart cold. Frau Weber's caution, rooted in fairness, clashes with the council's choice, her unease a quiet plea. Father Klaus, torn between faith and fear, senses divine judgment looming. Hans's loyalty to the piper, pure and fierce, lights the tale, his dismay a spark of innocence. The piper's anger, restrained yet potent, hums like a taut string, its menace softened for sleep. The townsfolk's joy, unaware of the betrayal, pulses warmly, a fragile note in the myth's cadence. Politically, the betrayal threatens Hamelin's fragile unity. The council's decision risks rebellion if the townsfolk learn of it, their trust already strained by the rat crisis. Neighbouring towns like Hanover hear whispers of Hamelin's ingratitude, wary of trade with a dishonest city. The church, sidelined by the piper's success, loses further ground as Klaus's warnings go unheeded. The piper, a lone figure, holds power beyond his station. His threat a shadow over Heinrich's authority, his pipe a symbol of justice untamed. Hamelin sleeps uneasily, its streets quiet under a waxing moon. The piper, somewhere in the shadows, prepares his response, his pipe a silent promise of reckoning. The council, smug in their thrift, underestimates the stranger they've wronged. Frau Weber in her guild hall counts looms but fears worse plagues. Father Klaus, praying late, sees omens in flickering candles. Hans by the Weser dreams of the piper's tune, hoping for amends. The myth's rhythm, blending triumph with betrayal, weaves a soothing tide, its tension a gentle hum for dreams. The Weser's flow mirrors Hamelin's fragile peace, the piper's shadow a note of coming storm. As this segment fades, see Hamelin at night. Its lights dim, the piper's silhouette against the moonlit hills. His pipe, unplayed, holds a song yet to come. The townsfolk sleep, unaware of the cost of broken vows. The myth, alive with foreboding, hums with the weight of a promise betrayed. Let this image, Hamelin quiet, the piper poised, carry you toward dreams, where the next chapter of vengeance and loss awaits. Hamelin's streets lie quiet under the summer moon of 1284. The joy of the rat plague's end tainted by the council's betrayal. The piper, wronged of his promised 1,000 guilders, vanishes into the night, his motley cloak a fleeting shadow, his parting words, "You'll regret this," echoing like a curse. The townsfolk, unaware of the broken vow, sleep soundly, their granaries full and children safe. But the piper's anger simmers, his pipe heavy with a new, darker song. This is the tale of his chilling revenge, as he weaves a melody that steals Hamelin's children, leaving a town in despair. Let the haunting rhythm of dancing feet, anguished cries, and the piper's relentless tune weave a soothing narrative, its cadence of loss and mystery lulling you gently towards sleep, where myths unfold like mist over the Weser. Days pass since the piper's departure from the council hall, his warning unheeded. Hamelin revels in its newfound peace, the market square alive with merchants' calls and children's laughter. Bakers like Frau Müller knead fresh dough, unspoiled by rats, while farmers cart unravaged grain to town. Mayor Heinrich, basking in the town's gratitude, dismisses the piper's threat, convinced the stranger has left for good. Herr Schmidt, the grain merchant, counts saved guilders, his greed blinding him to danger. Frau Weber, uneasy, warns her guild, broken promises bring trouble, but her voice is drowned by celebration. Father Klaus, praying in the church, sees omens in flickering candles, a shadow crossing the altar, a chill despite the summer heat. Young Hans, the baker's apprentice, alone feels dread, his faith in the piper turning to fear of what's to come. On June 26, 1284, as tradition holds, the piper returns. Dawn breaks over Hamelin, the sky clear, the Weser glinting. The townsfolk prepare for St. John and Paul's Day, a minor feast, with children playing in the streets, their voices bright. The piper appears at the town's edge, his pied cloak vivid against the grey stone, his pipe raised. No one notices at first. Heinrich is in the council hall, Schmidt at his ledger, Weber with her weavers. But Hans fetching water sees him and freezes, his heart pounding. The piper's lips touch the pipe, and a new melody spills forth. Not the sharp, compelling tune that drew the rats, but a lilting, joyous strain, like a festival song laced with an eerie pull. It weaves through Hamelin, curling into homes, tugging at young hearts. The children stop, their games forgotten. Liesel, a baker's daughter, drops her hoop. Karl, a farmer's son, lets his stick fall. Their eyes glaze, smiles spreading as the melody wraps them in a spell. From every corner, alleys, courtyards, even the church steps, children stream toward the piper, their steps light, as if dancing. 130, the tales say, from toddlers to teens, follow him, their laughter mingling with the pipe's notes. Mothers like Frau Müller call out, confused, but their voices are lost. Fathers at work hear nothing. The piper walks, his cloak fluttering, leading the children down Hamelin's main street, past the Guildhall, toward the eastern gate. Hans, running to the square, shouts, "Stop him!" But the townsfolk are slow to react, thinking it a game. A lame boy, Wilhelm, struggles to keep up, his crutch slipping. He falls behind, tears streaming as the melody fades. A deaf girl, Anna, watches from a window, untouched by the tune, her cries unheard. A blind child, kept home by chance, escapes the spell. These few, spared by fate, are the only witnesses as the piper reaches Koppelberg Hill, a wooded rise outside town. The melody swells, and the hillside, some say, opens. A cave, a portal, or mere shadow swallowing the children. They vanish, the piper with them, the music fading into silence. Hamelin wakes to horror. Frau Müller, chasing Liesel, finds the hill empty, her screams echoing. Parents flood the streets, calling names: Karl, Gretel, Fritz, their voices breaking. Heinrich, roused from the hall, stumbles to the scene, his face ashen. Schmidt, for once silent, clutches his purse, guilt dawning. Frau Weber rallies neighbours, searching the hill, but finds no trace, no footprints, no broken branches. Father Klaus, trembling, declares it divine judgment, leading prayers in the church, now packed with weeping families. Hans, sobbing, blames the council. "You cheated him! This is your fault!" The town, so recently joyous, plunges into despair, its streets hollow without children's laughter. The council convenes, but answers are few. Heinrich, shaken, sends riders to nearby towns, Hanover, Brunswick, seeking the piper, but no trace is found. Some whisper he was no man but a spirit, perhaps a fey or demon, his pipe a tool of vengeance. Others, like Frau Weber, point to human greed. We broke our word. Klaus in sermons calls for repentance, linking the loss to Hamelin's sins. Parents scour the Weser's banks, hoping the children, like the rats, drowned and might be found. But the river yields nothing. Koppelberg Hill becomes a place of dread, avoided by all, its silence a wound in Hamelin's heart. The Piper's Act, swift and final, leaves a mystery. Where did the children go? Some tales say they were led to a distant land, Transylvania perhaps, where settlers founded new towns. Others claim they perished in the hill, victims of a cave-in or darker magic. A few whisper of a hidden realm where the Piper rules as a king of lost souls. His motives, too, remain veiled. Was this revenge for the Guilders, a lesson in honour, or a deeper purpose tied to his enigmatic past? His pipe, with its runic carvings, hints at arts learned in shadowed places, its power both wondrous and terrifying, a dreamlike note in our soothing tale. The emotional weight is profound, a gentle current for sleep. Heinrich's shock gives way to guilt, his leadership broken by the town's loss. Schmidt's greed turns to horror, his wealth meaningless without his son. Frau Weber's practicality crumbles, her heart with the missing weaver's children. Father Klaus, seeking meaning, clings to faith, his prayers a desperate hum. Hans's anguish, his trust in the Piper betrayed, lights the narrative, his tears a spark of innocence lost. The parents' grief, raw and unending, pulses through Hamelin, softened by the myth's cadence to lull you toward dreams. The Piper's absence, his anger spent, leaves a void, his melody a haunting echo. Politically, Hamelin fractures. The council's betrayal, now public, sparks rage. Some demand Heinrich's resignation, others Schmidt's exile. Trade falters as merchants avoid a cursed town, and neighbouring cities, hearing of the children's loss, shun Hamelin. The church, regaining sway, fills with penitence. Klaus's sermons are grim comfort. The Piper's power, wielded through a single tune, upends authority. His shadow a warning to rulers everywhere. The myth, rooted in a real 1284 disappearance, weaves history and folklore, its mystery a soft hum for listeners. Hamelin's streets, once vibrant, grow silent. The absence of children a wound that festers. Parents light candles at Koppelberg, offerings for lost souls. Frau Müller kneels by the hill, whispering Liesel's name. Heinrich, sleepless, faces empty council meetings. Hans, wandering the Weser, dreams of the Piper's return, hoping for redemption. The myth's rhythm, blending loss with enigma, creates a soothing tide, its sorrow gentle for sleep. The Weser flows, carrying Hamelin's grief, while Koppelberg looms, a silent testament to broken vows. As this segment fades, see Hamelin at dusk, its lights dim, parents weeping at the hill. The piper's tune lingers, a ghost in the air, the children gone. The myth, heavy with loss, hums with unanswered questions, ready for the next chapter of aftermath and meaning. Let this image, Hamelin morning, the hill silent, carry you toward dreams, where the saga's echoes await. Hamelin lies shattered under the weight of its loss, the laughter of its children replaced by the wails of grieving parents in the summer of 1284. The piper, his pied cloak a vanished spectre, has led 130 children into Koppelberg Hill, leaving only a lame boy, a deaf girl, and a blind child behind. The town, once vibrant with trade and hope, is now a hollow shell, its streets silent, its markets dim. This is the tale of Hamelin's aftermath, the desperate search for answers, and the theories that swirl around the children's fate, blending folklore with whispers of truth. Let the somber rhythm of mourning, the hum of unanswered questions, and the town's quiet regret weave a soothing narrative, its cadence of sorrow and mystery lulling you gently towards sleep, where myths unfold like ripples in the Weser's flow. The days following the children's disappearance are a blur of anguish. Dawn breaks, but Hamelin's heart remains dark. Frau Müller, whose daughter Liesel vanished, kneels at Koppelberg Hill, her hands clawing the earth for signs, a footprint, a ribbon, finding nothing. Fathers like Herr Braun, Karl's father, scour the Weser's banks, hoping the river holds clues, but its waters are silent. Mayor Heinrich, his authority crumbling, faces a crowd in the square. Their cries, "Where are our children?" cutting like knives. Herr Schmidt, the grain merchant whose greed fueled the betrayal, hides in his home, his son among the lost. Frau Weber, guild leader, organizes search parties, her voice steady but eyes red with grief. Father Klaus in the church leads prayers, his sermons now pleading for miracles where once he warned of sin. The council, desperate, acts swiftly. Heinrich sends riders to Hanover, Brunswick and beyond, seeking word of the piper or the children. Scouts comb forests and hills, but Koppelberg yields no secrets, no cave, no path, only silence. Some townsfolk whisper of magic, believing the piper a spirit who spirited the children to a hidden realm. Others, like Frau Weber, blame human failing. "We broke our vow." Father Klaus, his faith shaken, speaks of divine judgment, urging repentance, but his words offer little comfort. Young Hans, the baker's apprentice who championed the piper, wanders the streets, his guilt raw. He had urged trust, only to see betrayal unleash this horror. Rumours spread, each a thread in the myth's tapestry. Some say the piper led the children to drown in the Weser, like the rats before them, though no bodies surface. Others claim he took them to a distant land, Transylvania perhaps, where German settlers were known to migrate. A few whisper of a fey realm, a place beyond mortal reach, where the piper rules as a trickster king. Father Klaus, in private, fears demonic work, his prayers laced with exorcisms. Frau Müller clings to hope, imagining Liesel alive in some far-off village, but her dreams are haunted by the piper's tune. The town's grief, raw and unending, pulses through every home, a somber note softened for our narrative's lulling flow. Historical whispers add depth to the mystery. Records from Hamelin, sparse but telling, note a disappearance in 1284, with stained glass windows in the church depicting a piper and children, dated to the 14th century. Some scholars link the tale to real events, perhaps a children's crusade, where youths were lured to join holy wars, never returning. Others suggest emigration, with families leaving Hamelin for new lands in Eastern Europe, led by a charismatic figure. The plague, ravaging Europe then, might have driven families away, the piper a symbol of death or deliverance. These theories, blending fact and folklore, weave a dreamlike veil, their ambiguity a gentle hum for sleep. The council's failure fuels division. Heinrich, once respected, faces jeers. Some demand his resignation, blaming his leadership for the betrayal. Schmidt, whose greed sparked the piper's wrath, is shunned, his grain stores untouched as merchants avoid a cursed town. Frau Weber, rallying her guild, calls for unity, but her words falter. Her own niece is gone. Father Klaus's church fills with penitence, yet his influence wanes as townsfolk question God's silence. Hans, alone in his bakery, kneads dough in silence. His hope in the piper turned to despair. Hamelin's trade, once robust, slows. Hanover and Brunswick shun contact, fearing the town's misfortune spreads like plague. The piper's enigma grows. Who was he? A wanderer, perhaps, from Bohemia or the Black Forest, where music and magic intertwine. His pipe, carved with runes, suggests arts learned in shadowed places, perhaps from gypsies, alchemists, or fae. Some tales cast him as a scorned outcast, seeking vengeance for slights beyond Hamelin. Others as a supernatural force, bound to punish broken vows. His pied cloak, a patchwork of travels, hints at a life of rootless wandering, each colour a tale untold. These mysteries unanswered add a soothing intrigue, their unanswered questions a lullaby for dreams. The emotional weight is heavy, a gentle current in our tale. Heinrich's guilt, a leader who failed his people, mirrors the town's collective shame. Schmidt's regret, his wealth now dust, stings with irony. Frau Weber's resolve, tempered by loss, holds Hamelin together, her strength a quiet light. Father Klaus's prayers, desperate and unanswered, reflect a faith tested. Hans's sorrow, his trust betrayed, tugs at the heart, his youth a spark in the gloom. The parents' grief, Frau Müller's endless vigil, Herr Braun's fruitless searches, pulses through the narrative, softened to ease you towards sleep. The piper's absence, his purpose unclear, leaves a haunting void, his tune a memory that lingers. Politically, Hamelin teeters. The council's betrayal, now public, sparks unrest. Poorer districts murmur of rebellion, their children's loss a wound too deep. Trade routes falter, isolating Hamelin as a pariah town. The church, regaining sway through grief, offers solace, but no answers. The piper's act, a single melody, upends authority, his power a warning to rulers everywhere. The myth, rooted in a real loss, blends history with cautionary folklore, its lessons a soft hum for listeners. Hamelin's streets grow quiet, its homes dark. Parents light candles at Koppelberg, offerings for lost souls. Frau Müller whispers Liesel's name, her hope fading. Heinrich, sleepless, faces a fractured council. Schmidt alone counts meaningless coin. Frau Weber mends looms, her heart with the lost. Hans, by the Weser, dreams of the piper's return, seeking redemption. The Weser flows, carrying Hamelin's sorrow, while Koppelberg looms, a silent scar. The myth's rhythm, weaving grief with enigma, creates a soothing tide, its sorrow gentle for dreams. As this segment fades, see Hamelin at twilight, candles flickering at Koppelberg, parents weeping. The piper's tune, a ghost in the air, haunts the silent hill. The myth, alive with loss, hums with questions, ready for its legacy to unfold. Let this image, Hamelin mourning, the Weser whispering, carry you toward dreams, where the final chapter of meaning awaits. Hamelin's streets lie silent, the echoes of lost children haunting every corner in the wake of the piper's revenge. The summer of 1284 fades, but the wound of 130 vanished youths, swallowed by Koppelberg Hill, festers, a scar on the town's soul. Parents like Frau Müller light candles at the hill, their prayers unanswered, while Mayor Heinrich and the council face a fractured community, their betrayal of the piper's bargain a public shame. This final segment traces the enduring legacy of the Pied Piper, its cultural impact across centuries, and the timeless moral lessons of trust, consequence, and the power of promises. Let the gentle rhythm of whispered tales, the hum of art and poetry, and the soft weight of Hamelin's regret weave a soothing narrative, its cadence of reflection and mystery lulling you towards sleep, where myths linger like stars over the Weser. The tale of the Pied Piper, rooted in Hamelin's loss, ripples through time, its story captured in folklore, literature, and art. By the 16th century, the brothers Grimm immortalize it in their collection, framing the piper as a cautionary figure, his motley cloak and haunting tune a symbol of retribution. Their version, drawn from oral traditions, emphasizes Hamelin's greed and the piper's enigmatic power, blending history with myth. Robert Browning's 1842 poem, The Pied Piper of Hamelin, brings the saga to Victorian readers, its vivid verses painting the piper's music and the children's dance with a lyrical cadence. Browning's piper, both charming and menacing, becomes a cultural icon, his story read to children as a bedtime tale, its rhythm echoing our narrative's soothing flow. Art amplifies the myth's reach. Medieval stained glass windows in Hamelin's Market Church, dated to the 14th century, depict a piper leading children, their colours, red, yellow, blue, mirroring his pied cloak. Renaissance painters, like those in Germany's Black Forest, capture the piper's march, his pipe raised, children trailing in a dreamlike procession. In the 19th century, illustrators like Kate Greenaway add whimsy to Browning's poem, their images of dancing youths softening the tragedy for young readers. Modern adaptations, from animated films to graphic novels, keep the tale alive. The piper's silhouette, a haunting figure on screens and pages. These works, spanning centuries, weave a tapestry of wonder, their visuals a gentle hum for listeners drifting toward dreams. The myth's themes resonate deeply, a reflective thread in our tale. Broken promises, the heart of Hamelin's woe, teach the cost of dishonesty. The council's refusal to pay the piper's 1,000 guilders, driven by greed, unleashes a tragedy that scars generations, a lesson in honouring one's word. The piper's power, wielded through music, warns of underestimating outsiders. His foreignness, marked by his pied cloak, makes him a figure both feared and dismissed. Yet his tune reshapes Hamelin's fate. Leadership's failures, embodied in Heinrich's wavering and Schmidt's avarice, highlight the need for integrity in those who govern. These morals, timeless and universal, pulse softly, their wisdom a lullaby for sleep. The piper's music, a symbol of manipulation, carries modern resonance. His ability to sway rats and children alike mirrors charismatic leaders who bend wills, for good or ill. In politics, the tale warns of figures who promise salvation but demand loyalty, their influence a double-edged sword. In society, it reflects neglect. Hamelin's children, lost to greed, echo those ignored by systems today. The myth, adapted in songs like Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven or novels like Terry Pratchett's, becomes a metaphor for choice and consequence, its lessons woven into cultural consciousness, a soothing note for reflection. Historically, the piper's tale may root in truth. Hamelin's records note a 1284 disappearance, possibly tied to emigration. German youth settling in Transylvania or Poland, led by a recruiter symbolized as the piper. The Children's Crusade of 1212, where youths vanished seeking Jerusalem, offers another parallel, the piper a stand-in for misguided zeal. The Black Death, raging decades later, might have shaped the rap motif, blending plague with folklore. These theories, blending fact and myth, add a dreamlike layer, their ambiguity a gentle hum for listeners. The piper's identity, wanderer, trickster or spirit, remains elusive, his runes and cloak hinting at a life beyond Hamelin, perhaps tied to ancient musical traditions or fey lore. Culturally, the piper shapes storytelling. His archetype, a mysterious outsider wielding unearthly power, influences figures like the Sandman or the Phantom of the Opera, blending charm with menace. The motif of music as magic recurs in tales of Orpheus or Celtic bards. The piper's pipe a cousin to their lyres. Hamelin's loss, a town bereft of its future, echoes in cautionary tales worldwide, from Japan's Kappa legends to Native American stories of stolen spirits. The myth's adaptability, from grim folklore to children's tales, ensures its longevity, its rhythm a soft pulse in our narrative. The emotional weight is profound, a tender current for sleep. Hamelin's grief, Frau Müller's vigil, Herr Braun's empty fields, carries the pain of loss, softened for dreams. Heinrich's guilt, a leader undone by greed, mirrors the council's shame. Schmidt's regret, his wealth hollow without his son, stings with irony. Frau Weber's resolve, holding her guild together, offers quiet strength. Father Klaus's prayers unanswered reflect a faith tested. Hans's sorrow, His trust in the piper broken tugs at the heart, his youth a spark in the gloom. The piper's absence, his purpose unclear, leaves a haunting void. His tune a memory that lingers, soothing yet poignant. Politically, the myth reshapes Hamelin's legacy. The council's betrayal exposed, fractures trust. Heinrich's rule crumbles, Schmidt's name cursed. Trade falters, isolating Hamelin as a pariah town, its story a warning to neighbours like Hanover. The church, regaining sway through grief, offers solace but no answers. Father Klaus's sermons a grim comfort. The Piper's Act a single melody upends authority, his power a caution to rulers. The tale, spreading through traders and bards, seeds Europe with lessons of honour, its impact a quiet hum in the myth's cadence. Hamelin, forever changed, becomes a town of memory. Parents maintain shrines at Koppelberg, candles flickering for lost souls. Frau Müller whispers Liesel's name, her hope faded to ritual. Heinrich, a broken man, steps down, his legacy tarnished. Schmidt, shunned, leaves Hamelin, his wealth meaningless. Frau Weber mends looms, her heart with the lost. Hans, now a baker, tells the tale to new apprentices, his voice soft with regret. The Weser flows, carrying Hamelin's sorrow, while Koppelberg stands silent, a monument to broken vows. The piper's fate, wandering, ruling a hidden realm or vanished, remains open, a mystery for future tales. The myth's settings, Hamelin's bustling square, the Weser's glint, Koppelberg's shadow, paint a vivid world, the details softened for dreams. The piper's cloak, a patchwork of travels, and his runic pipe, pulsing with power, add an ethereal glow, their enigma a gentle lullaby. The tale's open end invites speculation. Does the piper roam, seeking new towns to judge, or rest in a realm beyond? Its legacy, carried in poems, paintings and songs, hums with possibility, a soothing thread for sleep. As this segment fades, see Hamelin at dusk, candles glowing at Koppelberg, the Weser whispering. The piper's tune, a ghost in the air, lingers in memory. The myth, rich with lessons, closes softly, its questions unanswered, ready for new paths. Let this image, Hamelin quiet, the piper's shadow fading, carry you toward dreams, where echoes of trust and consequence linger.